welcome to all our listeners from around the world. Thank you for streaming or downloading our radio program. RedIceCreations.com is our website, the place to go for a year of archived radio programs for your enjoyment and learning. And I urge you to look into our new spawn, Red Ice TV. We have 3 episodes up there for you, and we're currently working on episode 4. We also have a members area, and I urge you to sign up and take the opportunity to hear and see all of the material that we have available for you. Try it out, sign up for a 3-month subscription, download or stream it all from the website. And our idea is to offer you a wide variety of subjects, guests, and research to help you broaden your perspective. Listen, learn, keep an open mind, and be skeptical. This is not about blindly believing what is being presented either. There's a lot of websites on the web that details aspect of the occult, entertainment, and music industry, examining details in music videos, artist lyrics, and question some of the symbolism contained within it. It's become a very popular subject, everyone from Madonna to MK Ultra Kitten, Mariah Carey, to the most recent junk, if you may, Lady Gaga. And then we have the in-betweens of the Disney Club specials like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. These are some of the artists that are mostly focused on in these terms. Fingers have also been pointed towards Jay-Z with his Freemasonic, rock-aware t-shirt designs and signs on stage. Michael Jackson, there's a number of artists out there. And music is, of course, being used to shape and form both young and old. In history, it's been used and still is being used as a form of propaganda, the music industry anyway. People often can go back to the 60s and understand this concept when it comes to rock and roll and the so-called British invasion, not only in the United States by British rock and pop groups like the Beatles and Rolling Stones. This also happened in Germany after World War II. And of course, before that, many will be familiar with how Wagner, for instance, the composer, was used by the National Socialist German army, as it were. But the question, of course, is what is the root of the modern music industry and the modern music scene? When did this begin? When did music start being used as propaganda? Who was the first rock star? So what we're talking about here is basically the rise of the modern music industry. And we have Robert Newman back with us on the program today to tackle some of these questions. If you've been following us for a while, you might remember that we did a program with Robert over a year ago now regarding the Mozart myth, the plagiarization and creation of this musical wunderkind, as it was, and the connection to the Enlightenment, the Illuminati. And that program is available in our radio archive, and I do urge you to tune into that, a shocking revelation, as it were, for Mozart lovers. Robert's website is musicalrevisionism.com, and we'll talk more about the website a bit later as well. But we're going to focus here today on Vienna, music history, and the arrival of the modern music industry, as it were. Welcome back to Red Ice Radio, Robert Newman. Good to talk to you again.
Oh, thank you, Henrik. Thank you for your excellent introduction. Such an important subject, music. It defies theology, and it seems to defy science also. It floats somewhere between science and the other world, etc. It's such an esoteric, or has been made such an esoteric subject, that attempts to document the history of music, well, not really the history of music, but the music industry, have not been very successful until fairly recently. It's only in the 20th century that people have looked at what is called the history of music. And it's even more recent that people have tried to examine the origins of the music industry as we know it.
Absolutely. So, and you are one of those people, obviously, in terms of how far back you go. I've never heard it from anybody else before. As I mentioned, people can go back to the 60s and maybe a little bit during Second World War, but you really take it back there. And I guess what I'd like to ask you first, Robert, is because I know that we talked briefly about some of your works that you're composing in terms of literature, in terms of books about this material. How are things going on that front, by the way?
There is a proverb in the Old Testament somewhere. It says, "Of the making of books, there is no end," and I certainly found that to be the truth. I haven't managed to finish the book on Mozart for the simple reason that so much new information has come, which has had to be incorporated within what I've already done. But it's consistent. It's just the nature of that type of book. I can't rush it. I do hope to finish it by the end of this year. My life makes other demands on me, but I want to stick at it and give it my best work. And so, as things stand, hopefully by the end of this year, but to leave something that would be of use and possible interest to music lovers and teachers and students of music. So to try to get that middle ground, and at the same time to call into question the conventions of music history as we know it and of the music industry. This is a slow task. So I want to devote certainly the next 6 months or so to an attempt to try to finish this work, which has now taken up a very, very large part of my life. And so, yes, the end is in sight, and I hope to see it through to completion this year.
Yeah, it indeed does deserve attention. It's a very important subject, absolutely, and as people know, they can get a glimpse of that by listening to the first interview that we did. But again, just for preference, just head on over to the website again, musicalrevisionism.info, and keep an eye on there then as well, because I guess you'll release information, as it were, when things are beginning to get finished off in terms of the work and the book.
That's right. The website itself has recently been established, but the subject of musical revisionism is only another aspect of revisionism itself, which is, I wouldn't call it the zeitgeist, but I would call it the work being done in musicology today, the real work that's being done in musicology today, is to call into question everything that's been written so far on the subject.
Yes.
And it's the same everywhere. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, medicine, vaccinations, genetically modified crops, or whatever. Everyone now is questioning the assumptions on which the paradigm, or at least the convention, is based. And musicology is no different.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. We want to see this line of thinking, so to speak, in all fields, expanding the view and revisit some of these things that we take for granted, as it were. Exactly. Robert, why don't we kind of get into it here then and talk basically about what the music industry is. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an outline of that.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to define our terms when we first start. There has, of course, been for many centuries, virtually since medieval times, a music profession, a profession in which people were employed to make music. But if you were to try to make a distinction between the music profession and the music industry, it would require a lecture of, a conversation of several hours to tell the difference. But hopefully by the end of today, or by the end of this talk, we'll be a bit more further down the line. An industry is, of course, an expansionist activity. It's not confined to any one place. It tends to expand. It must continue to expand. Businesses survive by making business, and commerce gets involved, and it tends then to move outside of its local focus or parochial focus into the greater society or into the nation, and sometimes even internationally. So in that sense, the music industry is a relatively new phenomenon, but a very important one, because it literally changed the way that people think about musical history. And that arrival happened in the early 19th century.